I will be showing you two different methods to root some twigs, some tiny cuttings. This method I learned from watching my buddy Priddy on his YouTube channel on what he calls green tip cuttings from his figs. And he told me he learned from Mr. Dan Foster, who also does green tip cuttings. And after doing some research, it turns out that these sponges, these plugs, are used a lot in the cannabis industry to clone their plants. And after doing further research, I found out that there's some commercial growers in Mexico that their business is creating fig trees for fig producers so they can plant them in their farms. And they also use sponges to clone their cuttings, but they don't do only the green tip. They do the actual green shoots, and they section them down to like 2 or 3 inches, and then they stick them in plugs and they root. And the most important thing I learned from watching the Mexico producers and the cannabis producers and all the research I did is sanitation. Sanitation is key, humidity, and obviously rooting hormones. So I'm going to show you the first method, which is what Mr. Dan Foster and Troy called green tip cuttings. Essentially, you're going to get your cuttings off your fig tree, and once you have them like these, you will disinfect them, and you want to leave a piece of the leaf so they can photosynthesize. So these are the ones I'm going to do in the plugs. Once I do these, I'm going to show you the other method that I developed, combining two methods. So for this, I take a blade and I do that. I expose the cambium layer. You do not want to take off the cambium layer because roots grow in the cambium layer. So I do it on one side, then I do it on the other side. So one thing I learned is that now that your cutting is wounded, you want to cover it as soon as possible so it doesn't catch any bacteria. So I do that with rooting hormone in the form of gel. Most rooting hormones contain the exact same thing to the exact same ratios. There's only a couple of brands that I found that have a higher concentration. This one is one of them, and I will be posting links on my description of all the items I'm using in this video, or most of them. So once you take this, once you put the rooting hormone in this, just get your plug, you drive it in there, and that's it. Now you just put it in your tray. You want to keep it in your dome with the vents closed for a few days. And I noticed that at day 9, day 10 is when I start seeing results. If you don't see results in day 9 or 10, something's wrong. The cutting got contaminated. It might have too much humidity, or you just got a bad cutting. As soon as I am done doing this, I put them under a light so they can start photosynthesizing. They can start growing roots. And you can see after 9-10 days that the majority of the roots show up on the sides that you scraped. So it's very important that you put rooting hormone in the wounded area so you can promote roots to grow in that area. And these plugs, they're sponges made out of, I believe they're made out of peat, and they come prepared with nutrients to help you grow bigger, stronger roots, and they come pre-moistened, so there's no need to water them. You shouldn't have to water them unless it's very hot and they dry up on you, but just mist them, don't overdo it. So I found that method to be a very good method, thanks to Mr. Priddy and Mr. Dan Foster and the people in Mexico and the cannabis producers that I learned from them. Another method to root your fig cuttings is what it's called the fig pop method, which is very foolproof. It's very good for people that are learning how to root. You just set it and forget it kind of method. It takes I usually use a 2x16 bag on that, and I use seed starting mix of soil. I get it damp, like everybody knows. Stick it in there, stick the cutting in there with rooting hormone. Set it aside for 4, 5, 6 weeks, depending on variety and the temperature. But there's some times that you get cuttings that are essentially just twigs, right? And every time I tried rooting these, I will always fail. So I decided to do a combination of a fig pop and the green tip cutting method, and I called it a tiny pop. So I've been getting a lot of questions about how to do this, and it's been impossible for me to answer every single person, every single comment, every single message. So I decided to make a video. This is my second attempt. I've never done a video before for YouTube. The first one, I set the camera angle wrong and I didn't catch anything. But this time I'm trying a little bit harder. I mean, I don't have much time to do this kind of stuff, you know. So, like I said, I'm gonna be linking these bags that I use. I'm gonna be linking these. I call them seed plugs, but they're sponges. I mean, most of you should have parafilm. Most of you should have a knife. And all of you should have cuttings. Forgot I need that. So on these bags, what I do is I cut that off. I don't usually wear gloves for this, but I'm just trying to make a point that sanitation is key. Now it's a little bit of a pain to get these plugs in there, but I think it would be a lot worse to get soil in here. But it's doable. A little bit of practice and you'll get them in no time. A lot of people I told what I used. A lot of people guessed what I used and they were right. But most people were wrong. So that's the type of people that I need to help the most, because I got helped a lot this past year. This is my first year doing figs and gardening in particular, so I'm pretty sure there's people out there that know better ways of propagating fig tree cuttings. So what I do here is I want to get them as close as possible together. It doesn't really matter, you know, humidity will create the roots. There's one down. Let's get the other one. And excuse my enunciation, my pronunciation. English is my second language. This is a lot more difficult to do with gloves on. Plastic kind of slides off the glove. But you should be fine without gloves as long as you wash your hands really good. Don't do any cross-contamination. That was the main key for the producers in Mexico. They were very careful with sanitation. They mentioned that any contamination could ruin their entire production for that season. So there we go. Now these, I kind of measure how deep you're gonna go, and then I just parafilm about an inch above that and up. Why do I use parafilm on these but not on the plugs? Because the plugs go in the dome and these don't, which is why I like doing these better now. You don't need a dome. You just set them and forget them like fake pops. And these are tiny pops. And like I said, I start seeing roots at day 9 or 10. So I go back and I measure how deep it's gonna go. And that's where I wanna start scratching. They root just as fast as a regular cutting, but these plugs make them root a little bit faster. And this rooting hormone helps a lot because it's a stronger concentration than most. So in combination, these plugs and the rooting hormone are key to succeeding in this process. So it's the same thing. Once you get it ready, make sure you stick them in there. Get your piece of string. Make sure you tie them up. That's it. Now, I don't have cuttings right now. These I took from an old tree I have outside of my house. It's an old, some sort of brown turkey. It's about 25 plus years old. Most of the cuttings that you guys have been seeing me post, I asked somebody to sell me cuttings. They told me I don't sell cuttings, but since you can root tiny cuttings, I'm gonna gift you tiny cuttings. I don't know if I had to feel offended or grateful, but I was very grateful. So why do I put rooting hormone in the entire side of the cutting that's going to go into the plug? Because that's what the instructions say. The instructions say that the rooting hormone will protect the cutting from contamination or anything that can affect the cutting from rooting. I have stuck thicker cuttings in here, but it's a little bit of a different process to do that. Maybe I'll show you guys in a different video. And that's it, guys. I will be posting links to all this stuff in the description. Please share this video around. Let's help each other out, create more figs, and enjoy them with their families and friends. Thank you guys for your time and for your patience and for waiting so long for me to make this video. I hope you guys like it. Any feedback is appreciated. Thank you. One thing I forgot to mention is that I will be posting links to my buddy's YouTube channel, Priddy, so you guys can watch his method of doing the sponges, and also I'll be linking a video for Mr. Dan Foster. He has a series of a few videos showing his progress and his method as well to do the sponges. Thank you.